Hi everybody. I'm going to show you things about the textbook, ordering it, and explain MindTap and how you get it and what it is and how you get it started. Some of you already jumped in and already know some of this or much or maybe even all of it, but better late than never. So let me get you started on that. So when you're in our course page here, we'll go to the link to MindTap menu item over here, and that shows you several items here. So the first thing you're going to want to do, if you haven't already, is click to purchase course materials for the course. Now, let me explain some of the options here. You need access to a textbook. I'll come back to that. You need an access code for something called MindTap, and I'll explain that. Now, as far as reading the textbook goes, so long as you have the 11th edition of the textbook that we're using by Schultz and Schultz, called Theories of Personality, I don't care what formats it is in. It can be, you can have a hardcover, softcover, printed, loose leaf bound version. You can have or an ebook. You can rent, you can own, you can borrow, you can look in a library. I don't care how you have access to reading the book, that's up to you. Now, you must have a MindTap account, and you must have that. You'll need to purchase that from Cengage. This is a standalone website, actually a third-party entity that contracts through Cengage. Cengage doesn't make or control the website, but they run it, or they own it, I guess, and they'll sell you the code for it. And you'll need your own individual account. You can't share. It's not like Netflix where you could share an account and have multiple users, logging in and watching videos. You need to have your own account because it's going to much of what you're going to do, a great portion of your graded work and all of the exams that we'll be doing for each chapter are done in MindTap and in your own account. Now, Cengage sells MindTap for $95. If you went to Cengage's website and hunted around, you'd be able to find MindTap all by itself for $95. Students have been telling me they've been finding textbooks that are included access codes for sale on places like Amazon, but they've also told me that they haven't found anything cheaper than $95 directly from Cengage. So your best bet is to follow this link the first link in the MindTap area to purchase the course materials. So let me open that up and I'll explain what you see and what you get in here. All right, so this is from Cengage directly, and look at it this way: they're selling you MindTap access code for $95. And elsewhere on their page, that's all you get for the $95. So the semi-sweet deal that they're giving you is essentially a free 6-month access to an ebook version of the text that you read on within MindTap. They're throwing that in there for free with the $95 for the access code. So this is the best deal that I know of. So there it is, and that's the first option. The second object is the same as the first, but it also includes the loose leaf hole punched version, a shrink wrap pile of pages that you can, they'll actually physically send to you, and then you can put that in your binder, and you can read it offline. Some people, I'm old fashioned. I like reading a textbook. I admit I'm not terribly fond of ebook readers. I prefer a hardcover. So if you know that about yourself too, this one's about $30, $33 more. You can have that bound version of it. So if you can get a hardcover, softcover used. If somebody is giving you their copy, whatever. If you have a different hard copy, more power to you. But you need the access to the MindTap. You need that access code. So even if you have your own book from elsewhere, you're probably going to want to go in here and use this link, $95. It's the best deal. Even if you're not going to use the ebook, that'll be thrown in there, for free, and it's sitting there if you change your mind or you want to use it online. Okay, so those are your two options. I hope that makes sense. Now, I'm promised from the Cengage people that somewhere on here, and I gotta admit, I can't see it readily, so I believe I've seen it before, but I can't find it in a quick search right now. They tell me that you can, if you don't have the funds right now, and students have been telling me that they don't have financial aid checks coming in on time, or for whatever reason, they don't have the finances right now this week to buy this stuff. And what can they do? Well, Cengage actually has a 2-week free trial of all this stuff. And maybe when you go into the add it to the cart and get to the purchase page, maybe you get to see the link for it there. If you can't find it, call or email, contact Cengage one way or another, and get them hooking you up with that. So maybe you need that 2-week free trial. And they promised me also that when you eventually buy the access code and get your own account, then that all the work that you did in that free trial version will be there. You won't lose that work. You certainly won't have to redo it. Even if there's a lapse between the 2 weeks. If the free 2 weeks expires before you get your access code, and I sure hope that doesn't happen because we're rolling along at a chapter a week here, but if God forbid that should happen, then supposedly that work is still there. So when you do finally get your code within a reasonable number of weeks, I suppose, this thing will be there. All the work that you did in the free version will be there. So look for that if you need that. And I don't know where it is, so please don't write and ask me where that is. Cengage can tell you themselves. All right? So by now you probably already have taken care of this. I sure hope you have. But just in case you're straggling, here's the 2 best options that I know of to get, MindTap access code and a free version of the ebook, and this one, the bound version for an additional amount. Okay, so taking you back to the Blackboard course page here, then the next thing that you did or should do is click to go to the MindTap course. The first time you click on that, another window should open up, and the very first time it will ask you to register, and it'll ask details about who you are, and it'll ask for that access code, and my understanding is that that's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. It takes just a moment. Okay, then from then on, when you click this link or any other of the links that I'll show you that I have embedded in the course to take you to MindTap, it'll take you to something that looks more like this. Now have instructor version of MindTap, so it's not, there's some stuff hidden that you can't, that's hidden on your page that's showing up right here, some chapters that I haven't freed up yet. So right now, the first 2 chapters are available, and since there was confusion that first week, I'm giving you an additional week to wrap up chapter 1, and this coming week we're plowing through to chapter 2. So I'm making chapter 1 and chapter 2 both due. All the stuff that you'll see here in a moment is due at the end of the week on Sundays. Okay, so that we'll do a chapter at a time. Look in the syllabus. I explained there how around spring break we have 15 chapters, 14 weeks. So we're going to do 2 chapters in the middle of the semester. So basically we're going to cover 2 chapters during the 3 weeks around spring break, the week before, the week of, the week after. I'm not asking you to do any work during spring break. That's your break. If you want to do work, you're welcome to it, but I'm not assigning it. Nothing's due during spring break, but we will do 2 chapters during those 3 weeks, one at one point or another. You can bust them out before you go to spring break. You can do one before, one after. It's up to you. But anyway, we're going to plow through 15 chapters in 14 weeks. So this first 2 weeks, we're going to do the first 2 chapters in the first 2 weeks. So chapter 1 is actually due the end of this coming week, January 21st. Now, let me just say this once, and I'll be repeating this probably over and over again. As you're going to see here, you are just not going to be able to do all of this work at the last minute. You cannot bust this out on Sunday evenings, maybe not even during the day, all day on Sunday. You need to distribute this work throughout the week. I'm making all of it due for a chapter at the same time, but you cannot do it. Trust me, I'll show you in a moment. You cannot do it. This program will not permit you to do it all in one sitting. It's taking advantage and utilizing some of the things, the basic principles that we know about cognitive psychology and learning, and that's just, in a nutshell, that is distributed practice. You know from all of your life doing things. You've taken, I'm sure you've taken maybe band practice, or you've been on a team, maybe been in a performance, a play, whatever. You've been in something probably where you've had practices. You didn't just have a single practice at the beginning of the season, before the first game, you didn't have one dress rehearsal before performance day. You practiced day in and day out, over and over again. Even when you like a sport or the activity, like playing the instrument, you probably still at times found it tedious. And I'm gonna just tell you, you're gonna find some of this, it's gonna feel a little bit tedious, because it's the good old-fashioned practice at play. All right, so let me now explain to you, what those things that you're going to be doing are. Now, before I jump in and show you some of those tasks, let me clarify another point here. So now that you got your access code, if you bought this access code the way I just described, then you have the free ebook sitting here. I don't know what happens if you bought it somewhere else. You might not have the ebook available here, but if you bought it this way, you do. And over here, and I think they call this the app menu, right there is a link for the full book, and that opens up the book in a window. You can resize this window, of course, okay? And there's the book, and you can, you can go through page at a time, or you can go to the chapters table of contents here and click to go, I want to go read chapter 2. All right, and then you use the arrows to go back and forth through the pages and scroll up and down to read. You can change the text sizes. You can even have this thing read it to you. You can print out pages to read offline. Okay, so get to know your ebook. Explore some of these other options here. There's other features that you can do here, and I'll leave it to you to learn them. Now, I should have right away pointed out what you should have done the first thing here. So the very first thing you should have done once you logged in your access code, and the first time you were at this, let me close the book here. Some students were asked, it seemed like they could only see 1 or 2 chapters at a time, and they were like, well, what if I want to see a chapter ahead? That's how you do it over here. Look at the full book. The full book's available over here. Anyway, I'm sorry, there's nothing here available. I was going to, in my other course, I'm using MindTap for another book, and they have a feature here that, gee whiz, I wish this had. I just realized it doesn't. Up at the very top in my other book, there's a video to teach you how to do all this stuff. That's weird that it's not available here, but I don't see it, so I'm sorry. Boo. Okay, well then I'm the video. All right, so okay. We'll be doing, again, a chapter a week, so let's pop into a chapter. There's different views here. You can see a calendar view, and you can see week by week when things are due. That'll be rolling out. Don't look too far ahead yet, because frankly, I'm not there yet. But week at a time, you'll be showing what's there and how far along you are in the sequence of completing it. You can see the list that we were just in, and again, you won't see these bottom hidden chapters yet, but they'll roll out, and you'll see them like the first 2. And then there's a more detailed list of the items that you'll be doing here. Okay, so I'll just take it back to the regular view here and click inside chapter 1. And for, I believe, every chapter, as far as I know, you will have 3 links here, 3 items to do. All right, let's actually start with the middle. The middle one is the chapter. Read the chapter. You click on that. That will open up chapter 2 in a full window. Okay, so that's another way to get access to the specific readings that you need to do. There's chapter 2. I'll close that window up and go back. Okay, now oddly enough, that's item 2 in the list here. The program actually has you start out with something called mastery training, and they're actually encouraging that you do that before jumping in and reading the chapter. So this is the part that I'll show you in just a second that is going to take you some distributed time. You can't sit down. It does not let you sit down and bust it all out in one sitting. All right? I'll come back to that in just a second. The last thing that you could and should do is the exam, the test at the end of every chapter. They call them a quiz, test, exam, I don't care what you call it. Instead of having 4 traditional closed book exams periodically through the semester, I've opted instead to have one gentle exam at the end of every chapter, every week. So the downside is, well, you have an exam every week. The plus side is it's a heck of a lot more gentle than having 4 or 5 chapters at a time periodically. Okay, so the test is pretty self-explanatory. There's instructions. It'll ask you questions. It's not timed, and I'm currently giving you 2 whacks at these things, and it's taken the best grade of the 2. So those are the tests for each chapter. So do the stuff above before doing the chapter test, obviously. All right, so again, you're welcome to do what you wish as far as reading the textbook goes, but if you're going to follow their lead, they're going to have you bust out the mastery training first. So let's go inside there and take a look at it. Now, let me actually not show you because I've already done some of this, so it's taking me to where I was. Let me go to chapter 2 because I don't believe I started that one yet. So this is what it would look like when you haven't done it, I hope. Let's see. So I clicked on the mastery training, and yes, so this is how, when you first do a chapter, this is what it looks like when you first jump in. All right, so this set has what they call memories, 32 memories, and it's going to start you off and show you the first 10 in this first distributed practice session. Now, while this is up here, let me point this out to you. You got an iPhone or an Android, you can go get a mobile app to put on your phone, and you can do this mastery training, when you're sitting waiting for a bus, waiting in class for it to start. You got 10, 15 minutes that you might otherwise waste doing other crap on your phone. Jump in and bust out some of this mastery training. As you're going to see, again and again, you can't do it in one sitting. So take advantage. It's wanting you to do these kinds of things. Do a little practice here, do a little reading there. Don't sit down and read the chapter all in one, big long sitting. Okay? So manage your time, work this stuff in, put it on your phone or your tablet, and get busy when you might otherwise be, wasting time or doing something else. Okay? So go check that out. Worth your time. It's free. That's a free app. Okay. So the first thing, the mastery training thing, what it's going to do is it's going to give you, it's going to introduce you to 10 of these 32 terms or concepts for chapter 2, or whatever chapter you're in, and then it's going to ask you to this is a little bit like glorified, smart flashcards. So there's content like you imagine there's a phrase, and then what's the answer? What's the term? Okay, or it'll so it'll give you a definition, and what term is this a definition for? Or it might give you the term, and you have to pick out what the correct definition is. You'll see in just a moment. So it's like smart flashcards. It also incorporates some artificial intelligence in that it's if you get stuff wrong, it will reintroduce those questions more frequently. All right, you're going to see everything more than once. It doesn't just show you something once and then assume you're going to remember it. Again, it's letting you practice. It'll show you stuff a little bit repeatedly, helping you master it. The more you see it, the more you'll know it. Now that also means that the less you concentrate, or the harder, the more you struggle with this. If you do have difficulty, mastering it, it's going to take you longer than somebody who's doing it more swiftly. So that's a reality. And again, can't do it all in one sitting on Sunday. Okay. Now let me also explain that when I sat down and first looked at this without any introduction to it, I was a little puzzled myself. I didn't quite know. What was the end zone? Or I'm going for a walk in the woods. Where am I going? How will I know when I'm there? What am I walking towards? Where's the end zone? Where's the last hurdle? When you get started on this, it's a little bit awkward to see where you're going. So let me try to explain it. There's different levels of mastery that I can set for you. All right. They arbitrarily give them numbers 0 through I think 4. You guys are going to be going toward, your goal is to reach just a nice gentle 0.5 level of mastery, all right? And so to get the points, and there will be, I believe, 30 points for each one of these towards, you know, and then the tests, I think, are 30 points each. So it looks like you're probably using MindTap to earn about, you know, 60 points per chapter, all going towards that component of your grade that's described in the syllabus. So you have two sorts of goals with this mastery training. One, you need to reach, to get the full 30 points, you need to reach that 0.5 mastery. And again, that might take, you might get there swiftly, but more than one sitting. I don't know how many sittings. Definitely more than a few. And the more you struggle with it, the longer that will take you. So be ready for that. Give yourself enough time. Get started at the beginning of a week doing this stuff. So you need to get to level 0.5, which is not difficult and it's not that time consuming, trust me. But be prepared. Then you also, the second thing to reach mastery is, in this case, there's 32 items, 32 memories. You need to eventually answer all 32 of them correctly. If you don't answer them correctly, by the time the week elapses, when you know, this thing is keeping track of your progress, and you'll get, if you've started it and done some, you'll get some corresponding fraction of 30 points. You don't do it at all, you won't get any points. So don't blow it. You got 30 points each week to earn here. All right. So again, master all 32 memories, and you'll get the full 30 points. As long as you reach to the point, you know, and I believe I think that goes hand in hand. I don't think you can get to 0.5 without, I mean, I think if you answer all the questions correctly, you'll be at 0.5, okay? So anyway, you got to reach 0.5 and eventually get all the items right. Okay, I'm going to you'll play with this on your own and learn, you'll take a little, you know, you'll get familiar with it after doing it a few times. Okay, it's got 5 pages of introductory sorts of explanations. You stop and pause and read those things, okay? Get your memory average to level 0.5. That's your goal here. It explains, you know, this what I just told you about the science of learning is about distributed practice and, you know, a little bit at a time. Okay, the progress bar that it's going to be showing you is going to look like this when you get there. After you do some of these memories and tests, it'll show you a progress bar. You're going to be starting from the left to the right, and you'll need to get to the 0.5 level, so you can go all the way up to level 1, 2, 3, and 4, and even further on. Okay? Now, by the way, you can work past level 0.5. You can sit here doing this as long as you wish. Okay? The more, you know, and again, the more you practice, the better. So I'm just, you know, to get the points, you need to go to 0.5. But if you find this is helpful for you, and the more you do, the more help it is on tests, then by all means work past 0.5. Okay? So I'm just telling you that you only have to work to 0.5 to get the full credit, but by all means you can go further. So it'll start to slide from left to right and show you, and then each dot's going to be one of the memories, and it'll show you which ones need more review and which ones you're good for now. And anyway, so you'll see this all when you get there. All right. So this is showing you an example where somebody got up to level, you know, 1.5 level of mastery, but there's anyway. So you read it, take your time, and then you get started. Okay. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to show you stuff. Okay. It isn't just all text. Okay. So you'll look at this and you try to learn it. So defense mechanism that involves unconscious rejection of the existence of something that causes anxiety. That is the definition of this Freudian defense mechanism that you'll read about in chapter 2, called repression, a repressed memory. Okay, so that's a first memory. Okay, so when you think you got it, you say got it, moves on, teaches you something new. Okay, denial. It's going to tell you what denial is. There's the definition of denial. Got it. Reaction formation, I love that. That's one of my favorites. There's the definition of reaction formation. Okay, got it. You'll read these. You'll try to study these. Okay, I'm just flashing forward. Okay, now it's like gentle quiz time. All right, can you identify this? Repression. It's going to ask you in the next screen a question about repression. All right. If you're sitting here thinking like, ooh, you know what? I got no idea what it is. Click don't know it. It'll take you back, show you the answer, let you learn it again, you know, spend more time learning. If you think you're ready, and there's no harm, there's nothing wrong with getting questions wrong. This will take you a little bit longer. Okay, if you think you know it, ready for the question. Okay, denial. Well, I already forgot. Was it denial? See the question over here on the left. You can see the question again. Repression, not denial. Okay, so it's asking you about repression. Which of these items is repression? I'm not reading. I'm just randomly clicking one. Oops, got it wrong. All right, and it shows you the right answer. So you got a little unfriendly, and showing you in green what the right answer is. Okay, now, I'm going to suffer for that. I'm going to be re-seeing that question probably a little bit more often. Okay, got it, move on. The next one, already it's going to ask me. Oh no, here it is. Here's the answer. Okay, here's the answer to repression. Okay, got it now. All right, now it's asking about projection. Can we get the right answer for projection? Okay, and you pick out what you think is the right answer. Okay, so now, so again, this is just one. These are both one kind of question. They won't all look exactly the same. Sometimes it works the opposite. Sometimes the question will be the statement, and then so it might show you the answer, for what projection is, and then on the next screen you're supposed to answer, you choose projection from the list of defense mechanisms. And then as you move on, when it starts, like, it'll be easy questions at first, and then they get a little bit harder, including like none of the above will sometimes be the answer. Okay, so don't get you can get complacent and just get lazy. And, I'm sure the right answer's on the screen somewhere. Sooner or later you're going to get a bunch of none of the aboves as the correct answer. Okay, so it's clever that way. It keeps you on your toes. Okay, so I'm just randomly clicking one. Got it wrong again. All right, so that's just to give you a flavor. It's showing you the progress on this portion right here. I think it was going to ask, I think it was showing me 10 items, and then it was going to probably ask 10 questions. Eventually we're going to get, you get to a point where it shows you your slider, your progress on the slider, and then you're going to see down in the corner here a timer. It's going to say come back. It's essentially, I think it's usually about 5 hours. It'll say, okay, go do something else. You're welcome to play around here some more, but you're not getting any more credit. All right. So it will let you keep playing with it, but it's not going to let you proceed. Until that time elapses. So you'll have to okay, I got to come back in 5 hours. All right. So that's what I meant when I said this thing's going to distribute your practice. It's going to make you come back and do it at different times, okay? So start this mastery training at the beginning of a week and bust it out bit by bit. Get it on your phone. Do it on the bus. Do it in your dorms, wherever, okay? So be prepared to explore that and benefit from this, okay? It's clever. It's smart. It's good, smart stuff. Okay, so you figure out and learn about these other items here. There's other goodies in here that are going to be beneficial to you. There's note taking that you can do when you're in the full book. You can highlight stuff and make notes, and you can do some pretty clever stuff with this Mind Tap. All right, so when you want to quit, it'll keep track of your progress and bring you back where you left off when you return. So I'll close out of there. And looks like I was actually 23% of the way. See, it's that wasn't much, and we got 23% of the way. Okay. This left arrow takes me back to the main chapter menu. There, yeah, check it out. Get to know this app. You can't break it. You bought it. Make the use of it. All right. So each week, plug along. So this week, finish up both chapters 1, and of course then get started as soon as possible getting chapter 2 done. So yep, you got a little bit more maybe this week to do with a slow start from the week 1, but bust out these first 2 chapters. Okay, hit me up if you have any questions. That's enough for now to get you started. So welcome to Mind Tap, and welcome to the course. Good luck, have fun, learn a lot. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.